So I did not ride Snow White's Scary Adventures in Walt Disney World until I was in college. I was about college age when I wrote it, because then I thought I was ready for it. But it still scared me. And the thing that scared me by design, I think, is how this ride system, we'll talk about the other famous dark ride system that Arrow helped a little bit with later. But this one, because your car can sometimes be alone in a scene, the way the doors close and open, we got stopped on it, and we were stopped in kind of the dark woods section, and it was like me and my sister, who both don't like scary things, and we're just like, what's happening? Is this good? Keep in mind, I'm in college and I'm terrified. But Snow White's Scary Adventure was terrifying, and some of it I'm going to give to this ride system, because it lets you be alone. If you were to, even when you're moving through, you're not always seeing other cars as you go through it. What about your experience with this one?
So I did it slightly before college, Eric, not to put you down, but I was on there a little bit. But to me, this was when I thought about dark rides, this was the first one I remember experiencing as a kid. Was Snow White's Scary Adventures in Disney World, right? It's the very first one I remember going on. You know, Mr. Toad was something that I remembered, but this, when I thought about, and somebody said, "Oh, have you been in Fantasyland? Have you been to Disney World?" This is the ride that came to mind as a kid, right? It's the first time you felt like you were in the story. And I know, that was obviously the intention, but
yeah,
that idea that you always felt like you were going to hit the doors, like you were getting close to the doors. You almost felt like you were going to like always knock into them, but you never quite did. Right? That's the kind, right. Exactly. But it leads to what you were talking about, was sometimes you feel like you're riding by yourself, right? That you're the only one on the ride. And the ride cars, I thought, were actually really cool, because they didn't just face forward, right? If you felt like as you were going on the track, they weren't like omni-movers like you had today that really the car turned, but they had enough wiggle in them that you always felt like they were pointing you towards something you were supposed to see. It wasn't just straight through or a straight circle. They really moved you through, and each turn that you made highlighted something. And I had never experienced that before, right? Most little carnival rides, even like a little haunted house, it's a straight run, right? You go straight through, that's it.
Right.
And that I thought was really important in the storytelling, right? Is that they're angling you toward things you're supposed to see or not supposed to see at that time.
And that goes right along with Arrow's design of these. They had a 3-wheel design with 2 in the back and 1 like pivoting wheel in the front, so that they could turn tighter and turn faster. And I think that does lend to the intensity of some of those scenes, some of the thinking you're going to hit the doors, some of those kind of different vignettes that you see, spooky or not. It kind of adds to the thrill of it.
Oh, absolutely. And just the design of the ride too. The original ride had if I'm remembering it correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, it kind of had that almost homey design, and each car had the dwarves' name on it. So because you were supposed to be Snow White moving through with them, right?
100%.
And that design is also really iconic, right? And they don't use it still today, I don't believe, but to see those developed is really cool. And watching them, there were a couple of photos online, and maybe we can post a couple. I don't know if you have the ability to do that, Eric, but
no, for sure.
There's a couple of photos that are on some of the blogs of like them designing the cars and, what they looked like, day one. There's even one picture I was looking at that had, it's like the car sitting in California, right? It's clearly in Mountain View, like in somebody's driveway. Right. And they're trying to get it put together. I mean,
just out there.
Yeah, it's just out there. So to watch them kind of construct these from scratch, because this was not something that anyone had ever done before. This was new. This was brand new technology that they were trying to go, okay, what can we do to make this ride different to tell the story? And I think that's, again, that great collaboration between Disney and Arrow. Is Arrow had these concepts, these engineering ideas. Disney had these things that he wanted to do. At this point, it is him driving this process. And they were able to bring them together to create an iconic ride that still is open in Disneyland today through a couple of refurbishments.
If you like this video, like and subscribe. If you really like this video, visit synergylovescompany.com for the full audio podcast.